Welcome to Beyond the Bridge by Local Umbrella. My name is Brad Weber, and I'm here at the IQ Podcast studios in beautiful Coronado, California. And first things first, I'm normally wearing a Local Umbrella media hat, and today I'm wearing a Tampa Bay Bucks hat because the Super Bowl was 3 days ago. And our guest today is Christie Craig, an essential member of our team at Local Umbrella Media, and she just returned from the Super Bowl. Welcome home.
Thank you.
We have a pretty interesting story about how Christie ended up at the Super Bowl and how Local Umbrella Media was invited to cover the Super Bowl. We're a local company here, and not that this is our first Super Bowl, I will say that. So, Christie, tell me a little bit about how you ended up at the Super Bowl.
Well, it was certainly my first Super Bowl. Has anyone here been to the Super Bowl? I mean, anyone?
Only as a guest.
So we were personally invited. If you look behind me, there is a fresh new release of a magazine that we worked on starting in May of last year during COVID. We were introduced to a medical doctor who was looking for a way to really start to market his practice. And I have background in helping physicians grow their practice, along with my publishing background. And Dr. Richard Ambrozic was put in touch with us at a time where the world sort of stopped. And I realized I lost a couple of my physician clients, and I had some spare time on my hands during the COVID crisis. And I said to my assistant, we have this opportunity here to work with this physician. And of course, I had no idea who his patients were, but I loved what he was doing because I have my own issues in the health and wellness space with my own health. And so I was very interested in the area of regenerative medicine, meaning alternative methods that are really it's an Eastern Western philosophy, but regenerative medicine is what they're using now to help us heal faster and to feel better and to actually get out of pain and take our lives back and do everything that we love like we used to. And since I had a horse accident when I was young, I've always been in a lot of pain myself. And so when this project came across my table, I said, you know what? Everyone's whining and crying about COVID right now. I don't mean whining and crying about like maybe losing people. I mean, I had a lot of people around me saying, oh my gosh, I lost my job. What am I going to do? And I said, what about doing something that is with purpose? What about working on a project? How about we work on something that matters, that's going to actually make a difference in the world? And I had a feeling when I spoke to Dr. Rick that he had something that no other physicians that I had ever met had. And what that is there is the magic behind regenerative medicine that really isn't magic, it's science. And I decided to take him on. And after we signed an agreement, I found out that he had some patients that probably many of you have heard of, such as Rob Gronkowski and Ryan Klesko, who played for the San Diego Padres, Ozzy Albies, who plays for the Atlanta Braves. I didn't take Dr. Richard Ambrozic on because of any of those professional athletes. I loved what he had to say about regenerative medicine and what it was doing for his patients. And so we then decided that we would actually fly into Atlanta and interview some of these patients because we were going to create this magazine that was going to be custom. And it's something that I've always really had a passion for, is a way to tell the story. And since I came from licensing in the entertainment world, story is super critical. And I felt like if we could actually take Dr. Ambrozic's patients, take their stories along with all of the modalities that he utilizes in the areas of regenerative medicine, and we package it and we bring it all together in a way that we can not only tell the story, but actually roll it out there and get it. It's really a direct mail piece, but it's something that we can use as how some people use books as a calling card. This particular magazine is something that can be utilized for helping tell the story and helping to let patients know what's possible for them. So that's how this all started.
Well, you did a beautiful job, and I know you worked
Thank you.
long and hard at it, and a couple trips to Atlanta, and lots of interviews with people we weren't expecting to spend time with. But it came out beautifully. We mailed it to. This is a copy of the magazine. It's also on the wall behind us, and we ended up mailing out to thousands of people in the Atlanta area. And during this whole process, you became pretty close with not only Dr. Ambrozic, but the Gronkowski family. And I believe that's how you were
Yes.
Invited to the Super Bowl.
That is absolutely true. And, I interviewed some of the athletes, especially Rob Gronkowski, on the fly because that was a phone interview. Even though I flew into Atlanta and I interviewed patients, what I want to talk about too is that I interviewed patients from the ages of 14 to 89 years old. And I knew in that week when I was there that I was onto something, that this is certainly the way of the future. From the 14-year-old who actually healed from a soccer accident, I believe she tore her ACL, and which is kind of rare like that early on. And to hear how her healing had been shortened was really, really impressive to me. I had an 89-year-old that it took him about 20 to 25 minutes to get out of bed in the morning. And Murray Kurtzberg, oh my gosh, she's so adorable. And I have to tell you, listening to this man explain to me with his wife what his life was like before stem cells, before regenerative medicine, and what his life is like today, he's a different person because of it. About 3 months after his treatment, he has been walking 2.5 miles a day. Wow. He changed his diet. There's a whole world around regenerative medicine that also the diet plays into it, the plant-based diet, along with shockwave therapies and hyperbaric chamber, which, by the way, is Rob Gronkowski's favorite modality of all. In fact, he, I believe, learned about the hyperbaric through Dr. Rick, and just a little background on how they met. So I really was interested in how this all played out, because we all know that Rob was suffering from a litany of injuries and retired from the New England Patriots in 2019. And he had he mentioned about a liter of blood off of his thigh from the last accident that he had. And he said he knew in that moment that it was time for him to retire. And he was connected to our physician, Dr. Richard Ambrozic, during the retirement period. And so Dr. Ambrozic has been seeing Gronk and helping him heal with regenerative therapies for probably the last year and a half, probably not as much since he joined Tampa Bay, but during our project, working on the magazine, we actually decided as we were doing it, this was kind of became like a light. It received a life of its own, because we realized that we really should have Gronk on the cover. And this is just as he had been drafted by Tampa Bay, because we're looking at him going, oh my gosh, he's like going to make his comeback. Yeah. Is he going to make his comeback? And so I called Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know how many times I called them, looking for images, looking for different things. And this is like my little heart and soul project. I really took that on as my own. And I wanted it to be beautiful, and I wanted it to tell a story, and I wanted it to have impact. And I wanted people to understand, and patients to understand, that they have options and that they don't have to be in pain anymore, and that they can actually take their lives back and do all the things that they used to do and have fun. Yeah. And after interviewing all of these patients, from the Murray Kurtzbergs of the world to the Ryan Kleskos, I realized that this is really something that I wanted to sink my teeth into. And so this is what we ended up with. I called Tampa Bay 100,000 times. I found the image that I wanted, and I knew that it was all about that front cover image that would cause people to pick it up. And so Rob one day had posted this image on Instagram, and I saw it and I said, that's the cover of the magazine, and I'm not going to stop until I get it.
I remember well. There's no way.
No way.
We're not going to use that.
Yeah, no way. And so I probably terrorized the Tampa Bay Buccaneers communications department until I finally got a hold of Chris King. He's in charge of communications. And I said, Chris, we have an amazing project. This is not about me. This isn't about the doctor. This is like much bigger than all of us. And I told him the story, and he said, what do you want? And I said, I want that image. And he goes, that's my favorite image too. Give me a half an hour. I'll get back to you. So it was worth, I have to say, like, sticking to what you believe in, even during really rough times. It was so worth it.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I said to my physician, why don't we just help the Gronk brands? I interviewed Gordy over the phone as well, his brother, who runs all of the Gronk brands. And he said, hey, when are you coming down here? And I said, well, I'm getting on a flight. I'm coming down. I'm going to shoot the cover. This is before I was able to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to say yes. And so anyway, I was on my way down. I was going down to Tampa. And anyway, it ended up not working out for good reason, because we were supposed to end up with this. And it made a big impact. And that is how we actually rolled out a big 2-page spread of all the Gronk brands, talking about Gronk fitness. And we just had a blast putting this together. And I loved every minute of it. I'm sure I worked for $1 an hour, and it was worth every penny. And I would do it again and again and again, because it has so much meaning.
Yeah. Well, we plan on doing it again and again and again. And I know you mentioned a few comments at the Super Bowl when you met Rob's father. They mentioned, I believe, that they have the magazine on their coffee table when they come over. Our magazine is laying there. So,
and everyone's looking at it. That's what they said. And they said, oh my gosh, you're that girl with the magazine. I said, I am. Yeah. And so it made a huge impact. And so it was a very low key trip down there. We were actually planning on doing all of these interviews. And the truth was, I was with the family the whole time. And we just spent good, solid. I felt like when I left there, I left Tampa, I left family behind. And that means more to me than anything. Yeah. We went down there, we're like, oh, we're gonna do this whole launch. And Gordy's like, oh, I'll interview and everything. No, we hung. We got to know each other. One of the greatest moments was when I got to meet the coach. His name is Harry Shaughnessy. He's a sweetie pie. I love him to death. He is the coach who coached all 5 brothers in baseball and basketball. And his stories, and he played for the Giants. He played baseball. He's a professional baseball player. But I just so enjoyed meeting Harry. And we just had a great time. And I just wanted to say, like, when you find something that means something to you and you realize that you can make a difference in the world, just stick to it, because I did. Yeah. And that's how we ended up at Super Bowl. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about any of that. It was about doing something that's going to actually change lives. This was a game changer. Oh yeah. For sure. For so many patients. And I interviewed patients that Dr. Rick didn't even give me. He didn't even say, oh, go interview that patient. I would just stand there and in between the pro athletes coming in and out, and the agents calling, I would just interview a patient who was standing there. And I was blown away. So Marie Kurtzberg said, I now walk 2.5 miles a day, and I grew all my hair back. I'm like, you grew all your hair back? Oh my gosh. I wasn't even thinking about that. So, just the stories go on and on. Yeah. And so, so this is our first issue.
We feel like we're kind of a lucky charm too. We could put him on the cover, and he went to Dr. Rick, and now he won the Super Bowl in his hometown. So it's not too often that kind of thing happens. So
it's true.
Look for us next year. I wonder who we're going to have on the cover next year.
I know.
They'll be the Super Bowl champion too, or maybe Rob again.
Hopefully. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love working with those guys. So.
Well, that's great. Well, that was quite a trip. And I know you worked really extremely hard on this whole project. I was there often hearing the other end of it. And it's, a labor of love, but it turned out really well. And you made a great impression on the Gronkowski family. And it's a wonderful family to make an impression on. And we love working with them, and we love covering the Super Bowl. And that was kind of another level for us to reach too, as a small media company.
Yeah, it's really true. Thanks for all of your support too, Brad. Oh my gosh. I think I lost all my friends, including my ex-husband. Like he's not even talking to me. I was literally locked up for weeks straight just to make sure that this actually turned out So
Yeah. So I think we're on our way to, I don't know what the next project is, but we'll be look for some other, along with our newspapers and magazines, we'll be doing some custom publishing projects. Now that we've done one like this, a huge success, great results for the doctor, great impression on the family and the subjects, and a great story to tell too. So
for
thanks for
sure.
coming here. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Christie. Anything else you want to add from your wonderful trip? Oh, the football. I'm sorry, that's what it was. We had to show the Tampa football.
Tampa Bay,
We got lots of
the
props
most
coming back.
underrated, not talked about, most beautiful city in the US. It's like a Portland, Oregon on the East Coast. I
Yeah.
love Tampa.
I haven't been to Tampa for years, but I liked it when I was there, only for a bit. But I haven't been there for 20 years.
Just minus the humidity.
Yeah. Well, you were there at the right time of year anyway, probably. So.
I don't know. I was soaking wet. By the time I got back from the pier from the last dinner we had, I went, oh my gosh, it's like January and it's February. And I just did my hair and it looked like I just woke up at 3:00 in the morning. So anyway, but Tampa's beautiful. I loved it.
Great. Well, we enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Brad.
Back.
Thank you for having me.
It was a long trip and you worked really hard out there. So that's our show today. We'd like to thank our sponsors, several sponsors, and I have to put my glasses on before I can remember them all. But Attorney King, Sequan Casino and Resort, Indian Motorcycle of San Diego, The Gym, Serrano's Coronado, and IB Fitness. Thank you very much. That's the end of our show, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.